Hey friends, welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. I was afraid that my Wellness Wednesdays were going to start getting repetitive and that I wasn't going to have anything new to talk about. I shouldn't have thought that because I got some lab tests back this past week that had some actually surprising and pretty concerning results. I'm going to go ahead and go over all of them with you. Some of them are good, some of them are interesting, and some of them are downright scary. I'm going to be coming up with a game plan and changing some things about my diet and lifestyle to address some of this stuff. And of course, I will bring you guys along on these Wellness Wednesdays. That's where I share my journey towards wellness. And I feel like I keep getting pieces of the puzzle, and there's been a lot of pieces that have come together, and I'm really happy with all those pieces. And honestly, those pieces that I've had in the right place for a while, I think are my saving grace. When I look at what I'm dealing with right now, if other pieces of the puzzle were not in place, I think I'd be in so much worse of a position. First, I'll talk about what everybody wants to know about for people that are on keto and for people that are on a higher protein carnivore diet: cholesterol. So I don't subscribe to the conventional understanding of cholesterol levels and what's considered healthy or not healthy when it comes to cholesterol levels. I think there's a lot of new, better science that gives better ranges and ideas of what cholesterol levels should be. First off, my total cholesterol is 214. So that is over the 200 that is recommended in conventional medicine. Again, not something that I'm worried about. And actually, as I grow older, I want to see my total cholesterol level get higher because cholesterol is very important for health, especially as we age. So that number does not bother me at all. My HDL was 62. If it was higher, I'd be happy, but it is in range and it's not terrible. My LDL was 138. That is over the 100, which is recommended in conventional medicine. If it were lower, I'd be happy, but I'm not super concerned about it. My triglycerides were 52, which is spectacularly low. I've always had super low triglycerides. The lowest I've seen them is 34, which is super, super low. So I always wish that we could be judged on the leanness of our blood more than the leanness of our body, because my blood is like super lean, like bodybuilder lean. So cholesterol is nothing that I'm worried about. It's about the same as it usually is for me. The next thing that everyone wants to know on keto is A1C. How is your A1C? My A1C came in at 5.0. So that is very, very good. I'm super happy with that. At one point, I had a 5.5. That's the highest I've ever had my A1C. That was several years ago. The lowest I've ever had my A1C is 4.9. So I'm happy where I am with that. Blood sugar does not seem to be my issue. And like I said, I think that particularly is one of my saving graces with the other things I'm going to be talking about. I got a comprehensive metabolic panel done, and this is one where I don't know all the ins and outs of each of the different tests. There's a whole bunch of different things that they check, but I do have an appointment scheduled with my doctor tomorrow, so she'll be able to look at that and let me know if anything is concerning. Everything on there was in range as far as the lab ranges that they give, which aren't always super helpful because they can be very wide and not really reflect what's optimal. They reflect more what's normal, and there are a lot of normal unhealthy people out there. So I don't know all the details of what's optimal for these tests, but my doctor will be able to look at that. The only one that was out of range is one that is always out of range for me. And it has been a mystery, and I've gone through with my doctor trying to figure out what the issue is and why it's so out of range all the time. And that test is the alkaline phosphatase. And it is a liver enzyme, I believe. And the normal range on the lab test is 31 to 125. My level is 9. And it has always been super low. I think I've seen it at 12, somewhere around like the 9 to 15 range. Anytime I get this blood test done, that's it's like way low out of range. And there's some really terrible disease, I forget what it is, that could cause that. But my doctor said that I literally have no other symptoms for that terrible disease. And she said it's not even worth trying to go down the road of testing for that because it's so obvious that I don't have it. And then the other thing that can cause that specific enzyme to be low is zinc deficiency. And we went down the road of supplementing with zinc and testing zinc, and that was all fine. So we just kind of drew a blank, like no idea why this alkaline phosphatase is always low. If anybody has any ideas, I'd be open to hearing them. So besides that one, everything else was in range. I'll be interested to hear if my doctor has any more insights into that. I also got a complete blood count done, CBC, and that everything in there came within range as well. Again, my doctor will have a look at that and she will let me know if there's anything of concern there. So now on to the next thing, and this is the first thing that is pretty concerning to me. For the first time ever, I got a positive ANA screen. So ANA is, what does it stand for? Anti-nuclear antibodies. And that is indicative of an autoimmune disease. I've never been officially diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, although I have had autoimmune symptoms before. The main one that I have dealt with is toenail psoriasis, but I've never had a positive antibody screen or a screen come back positive up until now. So again, this is another one where I don't know all the details and what all the numbers mean. All I know is that my number is 1:80. And that is on the high end of the low antibody level. So 140 to 180 is low, and then over 180 is an elevated antibody level. So I'm right there on the edge of an elevated antibody level. I don't know what all that means. Again, that's something I'm going to talk to my doctor about and see where we go from here. I've had this test done before and it came back negative. So that's definitely concerning. There's not a lot I can do about that right now. Like, I'm just waiting to talk to the doctor and see if there are more tests that she is going to order, she wants run, just kind of in a holding pattern with that. It's not very actionable at this point. So now on to the next concerning thing, and the thing that I'm really focusing on because there are a lot of actionable steps. I got my iron and my ferritin levels tested. And for ferritin, the lab range here says 16 to 154 is normal. But as I'm researching about this, I'm finding that anything lower than a 70 is not optimal, and actually optimal is maybe somewhere between 90 and 100. If you don't know, ferritin is your stored iron in your body. So optimal is somewhere between 70 and 100. My level is 9. So not only is it out of range of optimal, but it is even out of range of the very, very low range from the lab, which is 16 is the lowest. So I am officially iron deficient. I don't have anemia. There's a difference between iron deficiency and iron deficiency with anemia. Being low in ferritin is apparently the first stage, and that's the iron deficiency. And then you eventually get to the anemia stage. So I heard a really good analogy from someone I'm going to talk about in a minute because I've gotten a lot of good information from a gal who has a YouTube channel here and just so much information about fighting iron deficiency. And she used the analogy of your gas tank in your car and like a storage gas tank that you keep at home. And the ferritin is the storage gas tank you keep at home. And the gas in your car is like your hemoglobin or the iron that's like circulating in your blood. And so you become iron deficient when your stores of iron in your big tank at home become low, and you still have iron in your tank of your car. And so a lot of doctors will just say, oh, you're fine. You don't have iron deficiency because you still have a gas tank full of iron. But when your tank at home is getting low, the analogy kind of breaks down, but when the tank at home is getting low, it's like you're scraping from the bottom of the barrel and things don't work well. And it kind of seems to me similar to like when you don't eat enough calories, your metabolism compensates and like down regulates things. So when you have the low storage of iron in your body, it's like things just don't work as well. And you can actually have all of the symptoms of anemia, the hair loss, the brittle nails, the fatigue, like so many different things with just the iron deficiency. It can be super severe. And people struggle because doctors will look at their hemoglobin and say that it's normal and that their iron is fine, even though there's these super, super low levels of ferritin that do indicate severe iron deficiency. So clearly this is very, very concerning, and it's something that I am going to jump on and try to take care of as quickly as possible. And like I said, I think my saving grace has been that I have had my blood sugar under control. If I was dealing with this kind of iron deficiency and an unstable blood sugar at the same time, I think I would be completely out of commission. I'm also concerned because I eat such a high iron diet and a high heme iron diet, which is way more absorbable than plant-based non-heme iron. I eat a lot of meat. I eat a lot of red meat. There are days where I will eat red meat 3 meals a day. So the fact that my body is not getting enough iron stores, I think it has to point to an absorption issue. When you look online about how to increase ferritin, it's all eat more red meat. And I'm like, I cannot eat any more red meat than I am already eating. Like, I don't think that the amount of iron I'm consuming is my problem. There's got to be an absorption issue. I watched a video from Dr. Barry about iron deficiency anemia. He was talking about iron deficiency anemia specifically, but a lot of the same things apply to just the first stage iron deficiency. And he was just saying that there are just genetically people who absorb iron more than others. And so there's like this normal range, and then there's people that absorb too much, and iron overload can be an issue. And then there are people that just don't absorb a lot. And unless I have some kind of underlying thing going on that's, blood loss or, some kind of a digestive issue that's causing me not to be able to absorb iron, I just think it must be a genetic thing. And genetically, I just don't absorb iron as well as other people. Of course, I'm going to be exploring all of these things with my doctor, and I'm coming up with a game plan. And I will be doing a whole video soon, hopefully, about my protocol and what I am going to start doing and start taking all of the, nitty gritty details. I have already ordered 2 supplements, and the first one just came like literally less than an hour ago, and it is Blood Vitality from Ancestral Supplements, and it is an animal-based heme iron, which of course is way more absorbable. You can also take it on an empty stomach. The absorption of heme iron is not hindered by things like coffee or oxalates. Non-heme iron that you get from plants, if you get any kind of a vegetarian form of iron, they can really mess with your digestion. You can't take them on an empty stomach usually. The absorption is hindered by caffeine, tannins like in tea, and anything like green leafy vegetables, oxalates, coffee. So I knew I wanted to get heme iron supplements because I have supplemented with iron before. I've had my ferritin come back as low before. This is before I had done much research. I didn't really know. And it was like 28, and my doctor said, oh, you should get on an iron supplement and try to get that up, which now I'm understanding that 28 is actually iron deficiency. I think I've been iron deficient for most of my adult life, which is crazy. I'm imagining like what it's going to be like when I'm not iron deficient. I don't really know what that's like. I've just been like making the best of it, I guess. So anyways, I'm really interested to see what that's like. But I supplemented for a couple of months with it was a vegetarian formulation, and I got my levels up to, I think, 33 or 32, which is still very low and considered in a lot of circles as iron deficient. So I know that I don't want to supplement with a non-heme iron. And so I thought this was a great kind of real food type solution, but not the only solution. Then I also ordered a supplement that is from the gal that I mentioned before, who has a YouTube channel, and she has an iron repair manual that you can download. So she sells supplements. So anytime someone's selling something, you always have to be like, I got to be careful about this, which is totally understandable. But from listening to her, watching her videos, and reading her information, I feel pretty confident that she is just very passionate about this subject, because she was one of those that struggled with iron deficiency, and like she says, that it almost killed her. And she struggled to get good care and good information and good supplements. And so she's just super passionate about getting the information out there and helping people as much as she can. So this is the iron repair manual that she has for free download. It's, pretty thick. It's got a ton of information in here. And so I have been reading this, and I really like how she communicates and all the info that she gives. It just seems to really make sense. She talks about the difference between the non-heme iron and the heme iron, and how much more absorbable the heme iron is. The supplement that she sells is a heme iron supplement. And I wanted to throw in here that she has two. One is called Simply Heme, and it's just the heme iron. And then I think it's like Heme Plus or something, and it has a methylated B12 and a methylfolate added to it. And I wanted to read a quote from the repair manual here. It says, "Iron, B12, and folate are like the three musketeers. These nutrients work synergistically, as each one plays a vital role in healthy red blood cell production." So I read that, and she had mentioned that there was the specific kinds of methylated B12 and methylfolate that you want to take if you are iron deficient, because if it's just a regular B12 or a regular folate or a folic acid, they're not as absorbable for your body. And if you're dealing with the iron deficiency, you really want the best quality ones, which is the methylated versions. So of course I ran off and checked my Athletic Greens, and they have the correct versions, the methylated B12 and the methylfolate. And I think that is one of the huge reasons I had such a dramatic response to the Athletic Greens, is because my body has been struggling, and I think I have been low in a lot of nutrients because of that. So getting that big nutrient boost first thing when I take my Athletic Greens, I could just feel like my nutrient hunger was diminished. And even though the Athletic Greens don't have iron in them, they do have those other nutrients that my body needs. So I'm even more confident in my choice to take the Athletic Greens because of all this, and seeing that they use the good versions of the vitamins that are perfectly absorbable for me. I do have an MTHFR gene mutation, which is a whole different topic that I don't feel qualified to talk about. So I felt so good after adding the Athletic Greens that have all of those nutrients in there. And I'm imagining, like, what is it going to be like when I get my iron and my ferritin at a good place? As frustrating as it is to be sitting here realizing that my healthy diet that I was eating was not converting to healthy blood levels of certain things and not doing for my body what it should have. As frustrating as that is, I'm excited because I feel like this is another piece of the puzzle, and I think it's going to be a really big piece of my wellness puzzle. And I kind of can't wait to figure out how to get that piece in place and see how I feel and see what it's like. I am going to be making another video very soon after I have my appointment with my doctor tomorrow to see what she says. I am going to figure out my supplementation and the few little lifestyle things that I'm going to do to try to get my numbers up. I definitely will never ignore my ferritin and my iron levels again, now that I realize that I probably have been chronically iron deficient most of my adult life. I mean, I'm sure it came partly from having so many babies. There are a lot of things that I'm sure could have played into it, but just the fact that I eat such a high iron and good quality iron diet, and my numbers are so terrible. I know that this is something I'm going to have to really, really keep an eye on probably for the rest of my life. I will leave a link to Crystal Moore's YouTube channel and her website and information. She just seems like a wealth of knowledge. And for someone like me that is just hit with this and trying to get it all figured out, to have somebody that has gone through the process and to hear their story and all of the information laid out as clearly as Crystal has here has been invaluable. So I am super thankful for all the work that she has put in. Definitely recommend checking it out. Of course, I can't speak to, I don't have a success story yet. I hope to. I will bring you guys along on the journey, and every step of the way, I'll let you know how things go. But where I'm at right now, I am super thankful for all the info that I have gotten from Crystal. So definitely check that out. There's also a great video by Paul Mason, who is a doctor. It was from Low Carb Down Under from a few years ago. I forget the name of it exactly, but it's all about iron deficiency and people that have struggled on a ketogenic diet and found that iron deficiency was their problem. I think he talked about a woman in the talk, and if I remember correctly, she had a level 9 of ferritin, just the same as me. And she was on a ketogenic diet and she wouldn't lose weight and she felt terrible. And they found out that that was the issue, and she got that taken care of. And then she started losing weight and things were glorious. So I will link that down below as well. I also want to throw in here, listen to your body. Like we've talked about these last few weeks, there's been a lot of people jumping into a lower protein keto diet. And I felt that that was not right for my body. I've tried it before and it didn't feel right for my body. And now I recognize if I had tried to lower my meat intake even more, that probably would have compounded the issues. So for me, I am super happy I did not try to force my body into eating a lower amount of protein. I also think that this little tidbit is a really good clue into why I've always struggled with fasting. Getting my electrolytes balanced definitely made a huge difference as far as my lightheadedness and hunger, but I still get I was just editing a video, a what I eat in a day video from before I got these test results back. And I was saying, when I was ready to eat, I said, about this time of the morning, I start to get hungry. Well, actually, it's not really hungry. It's more like an empty feeling. And I was like, that is it. That is my iron. And I've heard other people talk about this empty feeling. It's like you feel like your muscles are empty. It's very hard to describe, but that's what I feel when I don't eat. I'm not hungry. It's not like my stomach is growling and I need to eat food. It's like I feel my body, my muscles feel empty. And I think it's because I don't have that iron storage available. I have to keep eating the iron containing foods in order to have it in my body. And my body won't let me fast because of that. So that was a really, really big light bulb moment for me. So if I could encourage you anything, listen to your body and take steps to figure out what's going on with your body, because it'll be completely different than what's going on with somebody else. So this video is already really long and I will leave it here, but there will be more information coming. I will share my journey step by step. Hope you guys are doing great, and I'll see you again in the next video.